to Chinwag. I'm Kim from Pooches Galore.
And I'm Carla at Completely Canine.
Today we are going to tell you, we're going to discuss things that we think should know that definitely loads of dog owners know, but some are maybe forgotten along the way, and we're just going to reiterate some points.
Yeah, not quite policing it, but also
No,
like,
because we would never tell you
give
what to do. We're not control freaks like that at
no,
all. No, not at all.
never,
No.
no. However, to make
Should
everybody's life easier out on your walks, these things would be really good, or just in your life, to everybody's life, including your own.
Yeah, I think it will take a lot of mental pressure off you and your dog if
Mm-hmm.
if you can think about implementing this into your day-to-day life with your dog.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, without insulting everyone that listens, let's get into it.
Okay, so I think the biggest one that I come across with most of my clients and you see on social media is when you have a dog on a lead for any reason whatsoever. It is common social etiquette and even written on lots of signs. And for you to also just put your dog on a lead.
Yeah, that's one of mine, definitely. Because I think as well, when I work with reactive dogs or anxious dogs or nervous dogs, our dogs are on a lead for a reason. That lead could be quite long, it could be 5 meters, it might even be 10 meters. But as the other person walking towards you, don't quite know why that dog's on a lead. It could just be not trained very well, or in the process of being trained, or old, or in pain, or anxious, or worried. So many reasons. Or the owner could just be in a rush,
Yeah,
and just wants to get their walk done and get to work or whatever it is.
yeah.
But if that dog is on a lead and has other dogs rushing up to it, off lead dogs, that is going to make even the most placid dog get frustrated at some point.
Absolutely. And it's always the most difficult for dogs to navigate is those social experiences on lead. And, a lot of people won't do them ever. I will. I'll do them, in a manner whereby I know that dog has got a little bit of space and has got the option to move away if they want
Yeah.
to. But actually for dogs, it's really hard because they end up coming in a straight line towards each other and they don't get the opportunity to do their normal social experience, which is kind of going around and butt sniffing and using all their normal dog communication. We take that away from them. So actually restricting them and restraining them from doing that and not giving them the outlet, if they're then rushed by a dog, like it's quite a stressful experience. Like you said, for even the most social dogs, that's quite a stressful experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to be careful with that. I mean, my brother's dog is on lead all of the time, pretty much. She's part husky, she's rescue, and I'm just not going to risk it for her because if she gets spooked by something, she'll be off. So I take her on a 10-meter line. And to be fair, we've had some good experiences where people have kind of come up and have just said, she's really friendly, she will play, she just has got no recall.
Yeah.
So, it's fine for you to let your dog come over, but I think those conversations need to happen a little bit more often rather than just assume.
It is the assumption, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is my dog's okay, and so therefore they can say hi to other dogs because they have social skills. But I think sometimes they don't have social skills. They can be a bit rude. They're rushing up. And they often at the same time don't seem to have the best recall off dogs either.
No. So social skills in maybe that person's mind is that they will go and say hello.
Yeah. My dog is
Oh,
friendly, and so they go and say hi to other dogs.
Yeah.
It's fine in a lot of settings. If there's lots of dogs off the lead, you can make an assumption that that dog is okay with other dogs interacting with them as a general rule of thumb. That's not always going to happen, but often. But if the dog's on a lead, then I just think, oh, they're on the lead for a reason, and I'll put my dog on the lead and we'll be on our merry way.
Yeah, there was a reel that I shared just earlier actually before we did a recording on this. And It was of somebody with a large breed dog who had asked it to go into a downstay in the middle of a path from a distance to let other dogs go by. It was a bit of a show off for my clicks on likes thing. And this man was just like, you need to put your dog on a lead. And the woman's like, no, I don't. My dog's like controlled. And he's like, it doesn't matter. There's a rule in this park that says all dogs need to be on lead, and you're not. Just because you're training, it doesn't mean you're exempt from that. And she'd be like, whatever. And I'm like, I understand, if it says dogs on lead, for a lot of people who have really stressed dogs, it's like a saving grace, because the assumption is they're not going to get bothered. But there are places where, I'm quite happy for people to have dogs off lead and pass me if their dogs are literally like, oh, there's a dog over there. Oh, I'll ignore it.
Yeah. Millie was that dog.
Yeah. My brother's other dog is that dog.
Yeah. She did not want to say hi to dogs. She would walk past them and actively pretend that they're not there. Like she was, if a dog came over to her, she was fine, but she never instigated a hello with another dog. And so I would still put her on a lead at points, but equally, if the path was quite wide, I knew that she would take a while. She'd be like, I'm just going to pretend it's not there. I'm just going to walk past. I cannot see any other dogs. I do not know what you mean. And that made life a lot easier, because when we were out and about, she could be off lead a bit more. But if there was a dog, and especially if it was wearing yellow, which is generally understood to be the universal colour of, if my dog's wearing yellow, they need more space. And the Yellow Dog Project promotes this. It does sometimes fall foul, because the dogs trust also wear yellow, and that doesn't. But as a rule of thumb, if I see yellow on a dog, I will automatically assume that the dog needs more space, and I will act accordingly. Of course, some people just like yellow because it looks nice on their brown dog. That's also fine, but I will find that out nearer the dog, and I will have dealt with everything. And if they're fine, we can let dogs off and they can engage. But I think you just have to be proactive, because just because your dog's fine, and also if your dog is fine and they run up to a particularly anxious and reactive dog, and that dog then goes for them, that's making your really social dog less social. And ultimately they might be fine now, but a series of that occurring is going to change how your dog sees other dogs, and potentially change their reaction to it as well. So you have to think about keeping your dog safe, even if they are pro-social.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in terms of if there is an altercation and the other dog is on lead, regardless of what happens, if your dog approaches, you are liable for, or that other dog is not liable, that person is not liable for it, because they've got their dog under control, and, they've got no opportunity to move away if you're coming right into their space. So
exactly.
And my other big thing, not necessarily reading dog cues, but reading human social cues. The amount of times I've seen people, bless them, like really obviously try and get their dog into a position where they're protecting them from, the onslaught of an off-lead dog on a park, and people just keep on pounding up towards them, and they just don't read that person is, doing their best to be proactive for their dog, and even if they're just training recall with a puppy, like, just give them some space. Like, it's quite obvious, I think, socially with people with what they're intending. Or if they don't want to talk to you.
Or just if someone says they don't want to say hi, please call your dog away. Please just respect that. I find it so baffling how this has become such a thing in the dog world, that it's, or you, as the person who's trying to do everything to keep dogs safe, you somehow end up being the bad guy, asking the other person to call their dog away. I find it quite bizarre. I'm not quite sure why either, but I think if everyone could just be respectful of other dogs and think, just because my dog is this way doesn't mean that every other dog is that way, we would have a lot less altercations.
The two things is that we've got more dogs in the world now than we've ever had, so it is much harder to go anywhere and have that complete freedom and not bump into somebody. So that is really, really tricky. And the other thing is, there's a bit of a disconnect between people who have only ever had puppies through their life and people that are adopting dogs and rehabilitating them. And I think that often when people have never experienced a reactive dog, or or haven't adopted one themselves, they maybe don't quite have the understanding that that dog's not just being aggressive. This person has taken this dog on, and they are trying to support them and help them to have a fulfilled and happy life. And I think they're often labeled as like the bad dogs, or the
Yeah.
you need to keep that dog under control, or you need to have a muzzle on that dog. And it's, I think there's just a lack of maybe understanding and empathy there for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And even if you've taken a puppy on, doesn't mean that they're going to turn out to be chilled and easygoing. So much can happen in a puppy's life that they don't have to be a rescue or overseas or something. They can just be a dog that struggles.
Yeah. But even like I always talk about my brother's dogs because they're really interesting. They're both rescues of the same age from completely different backgrounds. And Luna she's a bit more wary of men. She's a Romanian rescue. It's quite often the case.
Yeah.
She won't approach strange men. She won't go up to them. She's got no interest in doing that. But she really freaks out if they come into her space and they crowd her. So, I can walk her off lead most spaces. She's absolutely fine. She'll avoid more than she'll go near anything. And she will always recall back to me. And I remember trying to move through the gates at one of the local places that I walk at, and someone was like powering through the gate while I was just trying to put her lead on and move through. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put her on a lead. And he went, okay. And he went over to her and went to go and grab her on the back. And I went, don't touch my dog. And he was like, oh, sorry. I was like, she doesn't like men. And his face was a bit like as if, you should be controlling her then. It's like, well, no, she's okay to not be okay about being grabbed by a stranger. That's it
doesn't matter if she was okay with men or not. Still don't grab someone else's dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, it doesn't matter.
Give me the space to do it myself.
Yeah, I've got this.
Yeah.
It is really difficult. But I do think there's this kind of thing about dogs being public property, that people can touch them and engage with them without. I just think that's not how this works. Sorry,
it's not. No.
So I think that would help a lot of dogs if we could just all be more respectful and aware of the fact that not all dogs are gonna love all of life. I think the other thing is that dogs are not trying to take over the world.
Are they not?
I don't think so. To be convinced otherwise, but so if they are sitting on your sofa, or if they are eating before you, or if they go through doors before you, that is not them plotting to take over the world. I know this may come as a shock, but still.
Well, I was 34 years old when I found out.
Today was the day. We're breaking the news.
Today's the day, yeah.
Some of them I really love. Some of the kind of theories around stuff, like going through a doorway first. Now, I wasn't around when dogs were wild and not domesticated. I'm old. I'm not that old. Believe that they had doors. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe they were that sophisticated. But I don't think they had like a back door that they all went out for on a walk. And so I'm not sure why this has become such a big thing. I don't know.
Is there some kind of thing in the realm of dominance theory that they are accessing the environment before you, so therefore they're more dominant?
Yeah. But what you might actually find if you study these things is that the strongest member of the family group would walk at the back of the group to ensure that no one was left behind. It's like the eating thing. If your dog eats before you, they're gonna take over the world and be dominant and all of this. But again, in the wild, they would eat last because they're the strongest, and so they would let the weaker ones eat first. I just find it
living as a group out there is more valuable for them, for everyone to be okay.
And because dogs live in family groups as well, so it would be just like human parents making sure that the kids are fed before they are fed.
Yeah.
because they need the food probably a bit more than the adults. I just find it fascinating. And when you break down these ideas of your dog can't sit on the back of the sofa, our old spaniel Tyke used to always sit on the back of the sofa, like, you know, if you're watching on YouTube, just kind of behind Carla's head. That was her favorite place. And if I were such a trainer, that would be that they were trying to dominate me. Or it was just comfy and she could look out the window.
Was the dominance thing because the dog was sitting higher, or
yeah,
is that right? Okay.
See how that's taking over the world. I do find it fascinating when you break down that they can't go through doors before you and you should eat before them. And like, unless they're going to the pet shop or Sainsbury's and buying their food, bringing it home, decanting it into the dog food container, and then going, opening the cupboard, using the scoop, measuring out their food, they're pretty much aware that you are in control of the food resources in the house, not them. Like, so at what point does it tip over into, if they eat first, they're dominating you when you've provided the food? It just doesn't make any sense. So I think it's just good to have a reminder every so often that these things are thoughts that people had that have been scientifically disproved over the years, but also just don't make any sense when you logically think about them.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it takes a lot of pressure off people as soon as they realize that, because a lot of people's lives are dictated by these rules that don't have, and then it ends up like they spend like 10 minutes trying to get out the door because the dog's just really excited to go for a walk because they only get out the house twice a day.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting, and they're just excited to go out for a walk.
Literally. And I think that's it. I think a lot of the time when you're trying to search for a reason for something, you can also just come to the conclusion that your dog is just being a dog. Like they just want to do what feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like anything more than that. And they're definitely not trying to dominate you because they don't live in hierarchical packs.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the argument.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we need to know with that. And I think that's like thinking about that as well, not necessarily being dominant, but with your dog trying to give you a hard time. Like it's like, it is really easy to get frustrated with a lot of behaviors when you are like physically affected by them as well. So you know, like with Alfie, who I walk once a week at the minute, he's going through he's been diagnosed with dysplasia. So when I walk him, he's still very fizzy, he's still quite large and overweight and powerful. Not an inch of me is ever going to put him on a slip lead or on a nose halter or anything like that, because ultimately the pulling's okay to a degree. Like, I'm accepting a bit of the pulling whilst also trying to work on him walking slowly because I want to help him with his hips. But the pulling is a symptom of his pain that he's experiencing, but we're also trying to get him to lose weight. So it's like a really difficult scenario for him. And therefore I'm getting, you know, and his parents are getting the repercussion of it, because actually it's really difficult to walk because he pulls the second you go anywhere for anything. But there's a lot of history there with him as well of pulling because of his obviously long history of pain that we know about now. So it's, you know, it's sort of the dog's having a really hard time. They're not trying to give you a hard time. So as soon as you step back and you try and assess, well, what's the dog feeling? What's their experience in this? You really can build your empathy and build your patience for them as well. And I think that like another part of that is that you end up feeling embarrassed about what other people see, or what other people will perceive as you as capable as a dog owner or dog trainer. I take Alfie out and he pulls me around the village. Like, I'm a dog trainer and that happens, and I'm okay with that. Like, you know, it's okay for it to not look perfect when you're taking a dog out for a walk or you're doing a training session, because they are not robots. Like, they think and feel and they move, and they, you know, they're different day to day. So like, it's okay for it to not look perfect, for you to abort the plan that you had, for you to just take the brakes off and go and, you know, let them off somewhere and go for it, like a nice chilled out walk with them, or to stay at home if a walk is going to be too much.
I definitely think the aborting walks is huge, because I think as humans we get into very much of a mindset of, I'm going to walk this route. Like it's quite rare for us to go out and not have a plan of where we're going to go. Like even if we haven't thought about it, we still have a route in our head of roughly where we're probably going to go, whether that's you drive somewhere and you go for a walk around a reservoir. Like in our heads we have a rough idea of what we're going to do. And for our it might be that I want a really chilled walk, so I'll go here so that I'm not going to see people, or fancy doing some cafe training or something. Like there's stuff, and it's okay to have a thought about what you're going to do, and then when you arrive think no, or set off and it all starts, your dog's just not enjoying themselves, it's not good for them, just to be like, actually, you know what, I'm just gonna go home, throw some enrichment at you, and that'll be enough for today.
Yeah. Or if you arrive somewhere and it's really far and there's quite a lot of dogs and you're doing reactivity training, like it's just not going to benefit your dog. So
or they just see too many. It might be that there's not loads of dogs there, but it's just a constant flow, so you get too many. Or you turn up somewhere like the walk that Stan and I go on, which is I'd say it's his decompression walk, it's definitely mine, because there's very rarely anyone there. It's full of wildlife. There's deer and herons and all sorts, and it's really nice. I like to just go and I can just switch off. They're doing loads of work there, so there's loads of work coming around. There's a lot more vehicles about. I have to be a little bit more on my game because it's really unusual stuff that you wouldn't expect. And so many times I've gone, do you know what? We'll just do one field and so I can't bother to go and deal with all of that today. So you can just things pop up on walks that you're not expecting.
Yeah, because stuff like it might be something unexpected. It might be that your dog's having an off day, or it might be like you're having an off day. If you're really stressed and your walk that you planned in is going to take a lot of energy for you to be able to do it effectively, like you're doing counter conditioning or whatever, like you're not going to benefit and your dog's not going to benefit, because the likelihood is you're too tired, you're going to get frustrated very, very quickly, and your dog's also going to feed a little bit off of that experience. There's literally no point. Go back and do it tomorrow.
Exactly. And ultimately it could be of a huge detriment to your dog if you persevere and plow on and keep trying to go. Actually, that might not benefit your dog and be detrimental. I don't call sessions early. I don't end my sessions early, but sometimes like at 10 to the hour, so we've done 50 minutes and we've done something amazing's happened, I've been like, let's finish now. Like this is a really nice point to finish our session on. We could do the next 10 minutes, but if it goes wrong now, we're going to end. I can't necessarily always put it back. So, and I think teaching clients that it's okay to go, it's fine, let's go home now, and be like, that was a lovely place to finish on. I remember working with a dog the other week, and she laid down and relaxed in the presence of other dogs, and it was huge for her because she used to scream when she saw a dog, little poodle on two legs, just screaming. Now she's laying down in the presence of other dogs in a really relaxed manner because she was like, yeah, this is cool, I can do this. So I was like, let's go home. Like I don't know what we're going to see next, so time to go. And it's nice to show owners that that's okay to be like, that was amazing, I loved that, let's go home.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, if you have like a bit more time and you didn't want to go home, go back to the car if you're in the car and just pull up somewhere quiet, or sit in the car and watch from a distance, or bring some enrichment for your dog to do while you're there in a quiet space. So you can scatter feed, you can bring a Kong for the end or whatever, something your dog can do in the environment where they're not going to be like super exposed by everything. And often I think that's probably what we don't do enough of. I don't think we do enough of just a little bit of enrichment outside somewhere different to home. So that could be a one.
Absolutely. Anything else that you wanted to share?
We've briefly talked about it before, but treats are not bribery.
No,
not always. I mean, if you're holding a treat and you're going, what's this? Ooh, what's this? What's this? Now do is it? Then
Yeah, I was working with someone the other day. I think we were doing lucid walking, and I said, have you still got that treat in your hand? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, no. Like, that's great. If you want to walk with your dog next to you with a treat in your hand for the rest of your life, keep going. But we want them to work for that treat. So just be very aware of how you're using your treats, and that also they can be human food. That's maybe another one as well.
Yeah.
This thing
What is
about
human food?
Yeah, about owners who very proudly tell me that their dog's never had human food, and I just think, dog. Like, it's completely acceptable for them to eat anything that is dog safe, whether that is chicken, sausage, fruit, vegetables out of your fridge that you bought for you, cheese, anything like that. It's absolutely fine for your dog to have. In fact, it's really beneficial for them to have a variety of foods and fruits and vegetables. If you don't want your dog to beg, that's fair. Don't feed them from the table, but they can have what people class as human food, because food is food.
Yeah. Ingredients are ingredients, and they make lots of different types of food. And the thing is, your dog has an exceptional sense of smell. So if there's like chicken in their dinner, it's good quality food. In their dog's dinner, like, they can smell chicken. Like, you making chicken and then feeding them chicken is not, like, they know what it is.
Just chicken.
It's just chicken.
It doesn't matter. Your dog is not going, oh my God, this is human food. They're like, it's food. And so you can totally feed them stuff. If you feed them from the table, they will beg. Almost guarantee. So just separate out when they have it. But it's also really good for their gut biome as well, because we want to encourage diversity in their diet. So making sure that they have lots and lots of different fruits and vegetables in particular that will nurture that gut microbiome, which will make them feel better, will make their brain function better, and will overall increase the health of your dog.
Yeah. So, and also, I feel like, when there's something that you aren't allowed to have, you kind of want it more. I think that principle applies to a lot of them as well. And I do it a lot with like resource guarding work. Like, the more you make things super, super illegal for the dog, the more that when they do access it, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I just don't make any, as long as it's safe for the dog, I try not to make anything illegal. Like, you can feed them. I mean, I did used to feed from the table. It didn't bother me that I got begging either. No. But if you don't want that, that's fine. But you can, if you're prepping food, get little bits of carrot, ask your dog to sit on a mat and give them a little bit of carrot, a bit of chicken. Like, it just makes them less obsessed about getting it and trying it, because, same with kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the resource guarding is, I always get my clients who have got dogs who resource guard. We have a box of illegal things that the dog shouldn't be able to have. Like, often it's things like tea towels or the innards of toilet rolls or socks, that kind of thing. And as long as the dog's not going to ingest it, we accidentally leave these things laying around that we've kind of given to the dog. The dog just doesn't know it. So we can work through stuff, and then it takes the pressure off having to get things off the dog really fast as well. But it makes it more relaxed, and that's definitely what we want. So I think that there's lots to think about when it comes to what dogs are and aren't allowed, and it's not worrying quite so much about it really helps.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, hopefully we've given people some food for thought on that one.
I think so. Take the pressure off, guys.
Let's take the pressure off. Not that. Take the pressure off and be respectful. And I think if those two things, that's going to make a huge difference.
Good summary.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you next week.
Bye.